Hello guys, welcome back to Legend. Today we are going to be doing a comparison with the Tamron 11-20mm lens and the Sony 11mm prime lens, which is f1.8. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a comparison to see the actual quality of the actual lens. Then I'm going to do a low light test to see its performance and see which one's better. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the lens. So on this lens we get it's a zoom lens, so we can go from 20mm all the way up to 11mm. So I'm using the kit lens. The ISO might be a bit higher for this video, but it is what it is. So this is f2.8, but this is f1.8, so it's basically a lot more faster than the 11-22.8. So first of all, I haven't got the lens cover for this. Come with the lens cover one, it's got a protector on it instead. This one's got the Tamron cover, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. I've used it for about a month now. As you can see, this is without anything. These are the two lenses side by side. The difference between this and this, obviously it zooms, it's f2.8, but this one's f1.8, meaning you can get better low light shots. This one you can actually change from autofocus to manual focus. If you want to have manual focus, you can do that, but on this lens you don't have any of that. But you've also got a programmable button, so you can program it to do anything on your camera. So that's another neat thing about this lens. This is actually made out of hard plastic as well. So is this is also made out of hard plastic, but they're both good quality. They both got a focus ring. So that is the overall comparison of the actual lens. What we're going to do now, I'm going to see the weight of each of the lenses. So I've got a scale right over here, and we're going to see the weight of each lens. So first of all, we are going to start off with the Tamron 11-20mm lens. So if we put it in the scale right now, as you can see, it weighs a total of 356 grams without the lens hood and the lens cap. If I measure this together, then you get an additional 36 grams. If we remove the back lens cover overall, then we get a total weight of 333 grams. With everything on, we get a total weight of 395 grams. We're going to weigh the 11mm lens. We're going to remove the protector and the back protector. I'm going to see the weight of it. So that weighs a total of 181 grams. So on its own it weighs 181 grams, but if I add the cover, you get a total weight of 208 grams. So it's much lighter than the 11-20mm lens. So this is much better for traveling. If you're traveling and you're a vlogger and you just want to take it everywhere with you without having too much weight, this is the lens for you. But if you want a zoom lens that you want to zoom in a little bit, you want a hybrid of zooming in and wide angle, go for this one. And you should also go for this one if you want more low light shots and if you shoot more in the night or in dark environments. This one is f2.8, so you might have to have a higher ISO or lower shutter speeds. So yeah, that is the weight of both of these lenses. What we're going to do now, I'm going to go out, do a proper test of these two lenses. I'm going to put them side by side and I'm going to compare how they both perform in low light and even daylight situations and the sharpness of both of these lenses. Alright, so I'm now filming with the Tamron 11-20mm lens with the Sony A6700, filming in f2.8, 25 shutter speed and ISO 200. So this is the Sony 11mm prime lens. As you can see, this is what I'm holding. We're going to just go really close to it. As you can see, we're literally touching the Tamron lens and it's just in focus at all times, which is amazing. This is also test autofocus, so I'm going to put it close to the lens, take it away from the lens. Gonna go away from the lens and go away from the lens. It takes a little time to autofocus. And another thing is that this lens can zoom in, so we can zoom in quite far, as you can see, and then we can zoom out quite far as well. So yeah, that is a test of the Tamron 11-20mm lens. What I'm going to do now, we're now going to switch to the 11mm f1.8 lens. Alright, so we are now with the Sony 11mm f1.8 lens. We are now shooting in f1.8, 1/25 of a second at ISO 200, just at the exact same settings. The only difference is the aperture, and we're using the max aperture, which is f1.8. As you can see, much bigger difference in low light, much brighter than the Tamron f2.8. I'm going to put it back to 2.8 right now and we're going to compare it. So on this lens we can go back to 2.8. So this is what it looked like before with the Tamron, similar to the Tamron, and now this is what it looks like with the max aperture on this lens. So as you can see, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to focus really close. This is what I was using before, the f2.8 lens. As you can see, I'm going to get really close to the lens. The only thing is that we can't go as close as the Tamron, but still, as you can see, it's actually kind of focusing. But look, we can still get really close to the lens and still get amazing focus. Just look at that. And look at the focus, it's even faster than the Tamron. Look at that, it's immediate autofocus. So look at that. The only thing is, with this lens, we can't zoom in, but it's much better in low light. I can now get out of the way of the video, get in the video, as you can see. Really amazing, the autofocus. And we need to check the sharpness of the video as well, which I'm going to do in the next test. Will be me comparing it outside. I'm going to go outside, shoot some b-roll, shoot it in low light, and also test the sharpness between these two lenses. This is much lighter, much better for traveling. This one's a bit heavier, but at least you can zoom in. So yeah, we're going to do some tests outside. Obviously my other lens is the 16-50, which is my other lens. I'm now going to put some b-roll and we're going to compare these two lenses, 11mm and 11-20mm F2.8. Now we're going to test the autofocus. We are with the 11-20mm F2.8 lens. I'm just going to go close to the object. We're literally touching it. We're just going to see how quick the stabilization is. I'm going to put my phone close to the lens. Move away from it. I'm going to see how fast it is. And it's really stable. There's a train right above me, so that's why it's really loud. This is a test to see how quick the... Now we're with the 11mm F1.8. I go really close to it. We can't go as close as the Tamron, but as you can see, we are quite close to it. And it's really responsive, the autofocus. And now I'm going to do the same to my phone again. So we're going to go close to it. The autofocus is much faster on the f1.8 lens. I'm going to go far away. Alright, so as you can see in the autofocus test, you can see that the Sony f1.8 lens is actually faster in autofocus than the Tamron. If I slow it down, and as you can see, you can actually see that the Sony lens actually recovers its focus much faster than the Tamron lens. In this circumstance, as you can see right here, somehow the Tamron 11-20 is actually faster. But I guess it's some factors that causes. Alright, so now we're filming with the standard stabilization with the 11-20mm lens and f2.8. Then we're going to do the same thing with the Sony 11 f1.8 lens. I'm just going to walk down. And I'll do the same thing with the inactive stabilization. Right, so now in active stabilization, let's see what the difference is. I'll find out the difference in when I edit this video. Then I'm going to do the same with the f1.8 lens. Right, so now we're filming in standard stabilization with the 11mm f1.8. Alright, so now we're filming in active stabilization with the 11mm f1.8. Alright, so here's the comparison between standard stabilization and active stabilization. The standard stabilization looks a bit more shaky, whereas the active stabilization looks more steady. And you can see that the f1.8 lens looks much brighter than the f2.8. Alright, so as you can see right here, I've done a sharpness test on each lens. So over here you can see the 11-20mm lens, and this is the Sony 11mm f1.8 prime lens. So this is on its lowest aperture f2.8. And this is at its lowest aperture f1.8. So as you can see, if we zoom closely, you can see how sharp it looks. It looks more like a fisheye effect on the 11-20mm, whereas on the prime lens it's more flat. It appears more flat even though it's just as wide. And if we look at the corners, then we can see that it's blurriness, but that's as expected at lower apertures anyway. Alright, so I've now got f2.8 on both lenses, as you can see. So the sharpness looks pretty much identical now, but it actually does look more sharper on the Sony prime lens, whereas the Tamron lens, it looks a little bit more blurry. But they both do look sharp and like I said, it looks more of a fisheye effect on the Tamron lens. We've now got each lens on aperture f11, and as you can see, of course, both lenses should be much sharper now. So if you go to each corner, both lenses look just as sharp as each other now. Of course, the ISO is a little bit higher, and yeah, you can see they both pretty much look sharp. But as you can see on the Tamron one, it's got a little bit of a more fisheye effect, whereas this one's more straight on the f1.8. It does look more straight on this one. Alright, so I've got my Tamron lens on, 11-20mm, filming in f2.8. We're going to go check out the corners. We're going to compare how it performs in daylight. So I'm going to zoom into 20mm. Then I'm going to go back to 11mm. I'm going to stand in the exact same spot, and I'm going to film with my 1/25th of a second ISO 200. I'm going to switch lenses now. So this is my lenses close up. As you can see, this is another autofocus test. This is the lens I'm going to switch to, so let's switch to it now. Alright, so we switched to the Sony f4.8 lens. So this is the Tamron lens close up. This is another autofocus test with the Tamron lens. So we're now filming f1.8. We're going to look at the corners. Then for even comparison, we're going to put it back to f2.8. So yeah, this is a test of how both of these lenses compare. It's quite close to sunset. It's almost sunset, so the light's lower. So we're in f2.8. Back in f1.8, it looks much brighter on f1.8. And I can make the shutter speed 1/50th of a second. So yeah, that is a comparison with the two lenses. So as you can see right here, you can see that the Sony lens actually looks much sharper in the corners than the Tamron lens. Alright, so that was my comparison between the Tamron 11-20mm F2.8 lens. So this is the F2.8 zoom lens, and the f1.8 11mm Sony prime lens. Both lenses do have its advantages and disadvantages. This lens does have zoom, so you could zoom from 11mm to 20mm, which is the positive side for this. But the positive side for this one is that it's much more lighter. It's got much better low light because of the faster aperture. It's got much sharper image on the corners, and autofocus is much more sharper. And it's got an autofocus and manual focus switch, as you can see here. So yep, I'll personally go for this one because it's much better for low light. Of course, both are really good for low light because f2.8 is still alright for low light, but this is much better for low light. More than 2 times more light than the f2.8 lens. If you don't film that much low light, you film more during the day and you want zooming functionality with your lens, then I would go for this one. But personally, I'd go for this one because I shoot more low light and it's better to just have a lighter lens, and the autofocus is much faster. You've got a autofocus and manual focus switch. You can program this to do anything, but by default it's a focus hold, so when you press it, it holds the focus. Right now I'm actually filming with the 16-50mm kit lens that actually came with this camera. So the only lowest aperture that can go is 3.5, so I had to raise the ISO a little bit. That's what I filmed in the beginning of this video, so I'm going to end this video now. I hope you found this review interesting and helpful, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Thank you for watching.